Did you get it?
Yeah. Did you? Yeah. Oh, right where we got him? Okay. I just knew it was like L508 or whatever. No, I remember.
So they're part of the dogs. They have a really cool Discord.
That's how trademarks. I love your phone. That's great.
Yeah.
Did you buy it like that, or did you put it on?
No, it's there's a cosplayer next door. She makes it. She's local to Atlanta too. So. I've got so many comments. This is the first year I've worn it, and I've gotten so many comments.
It's badass.
Yeah, no, it is.
It is. It's absolutely badass, and it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's that honey drip that really sells
Yeah,
it. That's
yeah,
really
And
cool.
for someone else
It's
just
like
going to the checks
metal.
and opening doors.
It's pretty secure.
So, yeah,
favorite
it's not even, resin, right?
Yes, it is resin.
I like that.
My very not interesting Discord for
I
myself.
wonder if I'm having my ushering
Constantly
skills.
forget to check on because I can't access.
I was doing pretty
Someone-
well last
someone's gotta
night.
close.
Can't do it when I'm bored at
Yeah.
work.
Oh, this is great. I don't want to be looking at myself. This is awful.
No,
It's
no,
working though.
no.
I'm not a fan
And
of
then I
that.
became a professor. Whose idea was that?
I don't know.
I hate my own voice. I hate people looking at me. And then I'm doing the one profession where people are doing that.
Yeah. It's like, yeah.
Performers do the same thing. I found that a lot of us actually don't like
Can't
him. And
stand
what do
it.
we do?
Can't stand it.
The thing.
The thing.
Are we masochists?
Thank you, 1 minute.
We weren't that bad, were we?
I mean, I know I've been walking around in this thing for a while, but I didn't think it smelled that bad. Is it
We haven't even
right?
started.
There are certain things that just get ripe and you can't, and like, you just
You gotta,
live with
you
it.
gotta sit in the rape.
You just gotta sit in the right.
I have to give it space to just live in it.
But at some point, I realized that when I do cosplays, I want to do cosplays with as little clothes on me as possible most of the time. I did this 1 year wrestler woman cosplay, so it was like a whole Wonder Woman ensemble, but it was like little wrestler pants, and I was
Yes.
wearing a tank top. No. I did the tank top 1 year. 1 year I just did
I
sports
already feel
bra,
like I should
Yeah.
and I had like little Converse shoes and stuff
So,
on it. So it
yes,
was all
do that.
absolutely Wonder Woman themed, but I looked ready to throw down.
Hell yeah, let's go. I like
Let's go.
Good afternoon, Dragon Con. It's 4 o'clock. You know what that means. It's not quite dinner time, but it is time for the creator economy, turning your passion into your side hustle. We have a very great panel of streamers, creators, and people who know how to create and or have made something that they enjoy into their side hustle. I kind of all said it in the title. My name is Anthony Vito. I'll be your moderator today. I volunteer with the digital media track. I'm a podcast editor and producer. I have my own LLC designed by Vito, which houses all of my editing work. And I also have a partnership with the Bay Area Examiner LLC, which is a media entity as well. So we started businesses in that sense, and I'd like to show you how all the things that I learned and all the mistakes that we made by doing that. So here's my panel.
I guess we're starting with me. Hi, I'm Panda of Panda Opinions. That is my Twitch channel. I am a Twitch affiliate. I am the most nano of nano streamers. I am one of those people who sometimes I am lucky if I get 10 people on at one time concurrently, but often I'm just talking to a wonderful lady who lives in Canada, my most dedicated viewer. It's fun for me. I am a performer. I have a theater background. In my stupid day job, I work interpreting a lot of legal documents. I am not a lawyer. Nothing I will say here is legal advice. Please contact a lawyer in your jurisdiction for appropriate legal advice. Okay? We good.
Hi everyone, my name is Elaine Venter. I'm a professor over at Kennesaw State University and I specialize in media. Thank you. We got it now. Hoo-doo-hoo. I specialize in social media. I actually don't have my own side hustle and creative commerce because I'm too busy helping other people do it. So the joke always for social media folks is don't look at our own socials because it's not representative of the work that we do because we're too busy even of ourselves. I am actually in the process of rebranding and moving into certain things, and so that's always fun. Helping out students. I've got some students who've been influencers in the 20,000, 50,000, 100,000s, and some as low as just a couple. And it's very interesting. Different spaces from serious journalism to cosplay, all sorts of things. Any range you can think of. Travel. So a wide variety of different things dealing with algorithms and business side of things now more.
All right. Hi, my name is Kong. I have two things on social media, really. The first one is more of a passion project. It's for YouTube. I have a channel called How to Dragon Con. I'm very proud that they gave me a press pass finally, just based off of that. But my main side hustle one that I actually get monetized on is from my TikTok account. It is called Kong Fi. I specialize in the area of traveling for free with credit card points and miles. So I stumbled into that years ago. We will. And finally in the last year, I decided to start yapping about it online. Some people listened. It took off. And now I have different affiliate programs that I get paid through. I have consulting that people can reach out to me for. And I'm learning a lot about it. I just filed my first LLC a few months ago. So it's still a big process for me, but glad to be here.
Hi, everybody. I am an eternal enigma. My main thing is I'm a Twitch streamer. I was originally a Justin TV streamer. I went from a side hustle to a full-time hustle. I've been a Twitch partner for about 8 years now, I think. And I was one of the original recipients of Twitch's Bleed Purple trophy for 5 million total views on your channel. I have gone from just doing it on the side, doing fighting games and just whatever, to a full-fledged production. But I still have remembered where I came from in terms of when it was just a side hustle, when I worked at a call center simultaneously at the same time for about 3 years. But I got invited to a charity speedrunning event in 2017. I did well. What I was doing was trending on Twitter, so I guess I did all right. And it blew up into something pretty interesting. But I still recall those middle years as well, and I'll be glad to talk about my journey all the way to, I guess, where I am now. And thank you all for being here. Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm TV's Travis. I, like Panda, am kind of a nano streamer. I do podcasts on movies, old TV, just talking media and talking storytelling. I'm kind of in a podcasting magpie. I just keep collecting more and more of them, and I have a problem and can't stop. And I'm just kind of going day to day, trying to build from just a passion project into a side hustle.
There we go. All right. So before we get started, DragonCon, their charity this year is NAMI, Georgia. DragonCon is committed to helping the community through raising funds and providing a dollar-for-dollar match of up to $125,000 to this year's charity. DragonCon's charities are always great, always special, and my heart, and I think everyone at this table as well. You are not alone. No matter how you have been affected by mental illness, please know you are welcome here. The National Alliance of Mental Illness of Georgia. We have a QR code here for your donations, also here on the back. If you would like to, at the end of the panel, it'll be right up here. Every little bit counts, so anything you can help provide for NAMI Georgia is greatly appreciated for DragonCon. So, let's go ahead and talk about, as we mentioned, some of us have started creating and then turned it into a side hustle and then some into a full-time hustle. When you're able to make that your full-time job, that's always the goal, right? Yeah. Before we really get started, raise of hands, how many people are creators right now? Fantastic. For a very long time. How many are looking to make that next step because you've reached that scale and you want to get to that next step? Fantastic. Beautiful. All right. So let's talk about scaling. So from passion to profit, you start streaming because you want to do it, you have fun, you've seen other people do it, or whatever, create podcasts, create content. When did it become to the point where you say, I want to go ahead and make this something more than just fun for me, and I want to scale it to maybe not necessarily a business, but something that I'm going to go ahead and make a priority? Let's go start with Internal Enigma.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wait for my cue.
Yeah.
So I was one of the original streamers before Twitch was even Twitch. It was Justin TV back in the day, and I just made an account to chat, fighting game tournaments. But then I saw a guy one day sitting down on a couch playing Ninja Gaiden on the Xbox, and I thought, the light bulb went off in my head, and I said, oh, I think I could do that, and I think I would like it. So I started doing it, and about I think earlier this month was my 14-year streamiversary. So but I started kind of just doing it as a side thing. I've been all over the place. I was in the pro wrestling business as well for 7 years. I was just a referee. I didn't do anything super crazy, but I was in that industry, and then it wasn't really paying the bills, so I had to go get a real job. And I kept with Twitch on the side. But around the mid-2015s, I would say, that's about when it started hitting me. I thought, this is something I could probably do. And not only do I want people to... Streaming for me is not about like people watching me having fun. I want to have fun with people even though I can't see them and be around them and feel their energy. But around 2015 is about when the light bulb went off in my head where I said, I hate my job and I love this. And I kind of want to make this work and get rid of this. So about the mid-2010s, I'd say, about 2015, 2016. That's about when I gave up the wrestling dream, which I didn't know at the time. I had to have some stomach surgery, but at the time I didn't go back. And then Twitch kind of became my focus, about the mid-2010s.
Yeah, so a lot of it's the social aspect, the internet having those avenues as well that kind of helps push you that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So that's fascinating. I want to learn more about you as a ref.
Oh, man. I did some stuff, I'll tell you. It didn't yield a whole lot. I did one episode of TNA Impact, and I got punched in the face by Cowboy James Storm. Not for real, but he got me right there. But that's the biggest thing I did in 7 years. The rest of it was just kind of small stuff. But I picked up a lot of stuff. There's a lot of similarities between pro wrestling and Twitch streaming because you're working an audience, you're trying to feel the crowd out and stuff like that. A lot of similarities.
Ultimately a performance.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned like scale. It's something that you want to go ahead and do. So Elaine, talk to me because I know you have a lot of clients. So like, when do they come to you and say, hey, what do I do next before I just hit that stream button again, or I want to create, what do I do next?
The funny thing is some of them don't even come to me, what do I do next? It's me telling them, do you realize that you're actually at this point that you can do something? Oftentimes people, especially what I find for folks who are doing things that is their passion, is they don't realize that they can make it into a full-time job. There is an issue to be concerned about that because a job changes the nature of the thing. And today we do have a lot of people talking about, I don't actually want to make this my job, because I know what a job feels like. But have you ever heard the term, you work a day in your life for something you love and you never feel like you never work? That's really not true. You absolutely are working. But it's that payoff of, does the overall emotional payoff feel more for you? And so that's the kind of questions that I ask them in terms of making them that decision and then them leading them into that way. Usually there are a couple things that we look at. Do you already have a consistent number base? It doesn't have to be a high number. It can be a low number. Do you have the same woman from Canada tuning in all the time? Do you have the same 5 people? Do you have the same 10 people? Do you have different type of groups or brands that you are reaching out to, kind of mentioning you in places or even reacting to your stuff? Do you find that you're starting to develop a kind of feel for this? And do you feel that you want to do more of this? And if that's a yes to many of those questions, I say, time to go to the next step. And then we do that. For those who already come to me as well, we look at those same things as well, and then we start asking the bigger questions too. Okay, what kind of financing do you already have in place? How much are you willing to hold off to give up in order to go full on this? Because that's the thing. If you want to go full on your side hustle, that means quitting the main hustle. And so the one thing I always tell them that you have to protect yourself is, do you have at least 4 to 6 months worth of financing in your savings account to help you? Because that is, if you're lucky, how long it could take you before you start seeing a return on income in your side hustle, turning into main hustle.
For me, it was 6 months.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's about
Right
the average.
Right on the dot, yeah.
Some people might go a little bit more. The algorithm currently is a little bit crazy. I would say TikTokers, and I've talked to a couple people, struggling a little bit more. We are seeing in other spaces and whatnot. That's the other thing too. I asked them, are you flexible? Because you can't just be married to one certain place. But that's a whole other discussion I'd like to hear from other folks as well. But those are some of the things that we look at in terms of helping you make those decisions, for strategic decisions that can help you move on.
Yeah, so you mentioned the financial part, because that's really the big part of it. If it's a side, like, why do I need to create a business for this if I'm just having fun? And a lot of it can be, well, you're selling products or services, so you need to bring in money. or you have some sort of business to business ventures that you don't want to just do personally. So finance, it's right up Kong's alley. So let's talk about your journey to creating your business based on your growth on TikTok and based on what you've done.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of bouncing off what Elaine said, it was roughly kind of that 6-month mark for me. I actually started TikTok really just last summer in June. So I want that to be an encouraging thing for everyone here, is that even if you feel like, my space or niche is saturated with people who are already doing the stuff I'm doing, or they're doing it better, just start. Like, there's always that opportunity, because at the end of the day, as what I like to say, there's only one you that brings your own unique take on it. And I had a hard time believing in that myself in the beginning. I was making stuff, I was struggling, but 6 months into it, something just started taking off, and opportunities started coming towards me. Once I got the views, once I got some followers, I had another person reach out in that same credit card travel space. And he's like, hey, there's a thing called affiliate networking. And I was like, I don't know what that is. 'Cause it was just for fun for me. And once I, joined that affiliate network and income started coming in, I was like, oh, okay, now I need to have a different mindset going into this, because now every video that I put out is potentially a source of income, a source of future clients, customers, deals. So that's when my mindset started really changing from just, I'm putting out whatever I can to see if it sticks, to this needs to start being a little bit strategic. You probably know better about different strategies and such, but it's at least you have to have some kind of plan going into it. Because that's when it's changed for me.
Yeah.
Beautiful, yeah. And so, as you mentioned, kind of revenue streams. TV's Travis, I believe, don't you have a store that sells some merch based on your show?
I do. So through my website, I just set up, it's Fourth Wall, and it was just a print on demand, and I can put up basic stuff and have that out there. And that's kind of the one, other than a couple of patrons on Patreon, that's really the main kind of revenue that I get, which as of now isn't a whole lot, but I've seen a few of my my shirts and hats out in the wild, which is a kind of fun feeling.
That's cool. Fourth Wall has a lot of cool stuff. One of our partnership has a Fourth Wall shop. You can make koozies during Christmas time. They had Christmas sweaters,
Koozies, shoes, all sorts of things.
little plushies.
This is
So-
just
Yeah,
the
you
part
can
we have
see
to
it
make
everything,
sure.
yeah.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Hashtag
Just
not
wanna-
sponsored,
That's right.
sorry.
Just want to say.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Please sponsor. I'm kidding.
But also fourth wall.
Yeah, I have a Fourth Wall shop too, and it's,
Yeah.
it's really nice.
It's
Yeah.
it's an easy. It seems to be an easy way for creators to create products, not necessarily services, but products to go ahead and then sell to your fans as well. And it kind of is an extension, because you can also do so. There's Patreon. You can also do Patreon-esque things with Fourth Wall as well. It's a pretty powerful website. But TV's Travis, your Fourth Wall shop is actually interesting, and that's when I learned Fourth Wall is a thing from you. And I was like, this is a great opportunity. Okay, so all of that encapsulates what is that next step? We talk about what's the next step. So kind of like the business basics. Who here on the panel has an LLC or has had an LLC before, has some sort of business situation? Perfect. So, Panda, Leanne, let's
Yeah.
talk about LLC formation, sole proprietorship, partnership, what it means per state, and why does it sound like it's big and scary, and why is it not?
So the big thing when it comes to starting your own business, obviously the easiest way of doing it is a sole proprietorship. You start going, you don't have to file anything. Your business ID number is your social security number. The problem with that, obviously, is that you have all the liability. Something goes wrong, someone wants to sue you, you are fully exposed to that. The best way to give yourself a little bit of distance would be basically a single, I can't think of the correct word now. My gosh.
Sole proprietorship.
Sole
proprietorship.
LLC.
LLC,
Yeah,
limited liability.
Yeah, sole proprietorship LLC. So you can have an LLC that is just you. You don't need to have any other partners. It sounds big, it sounds scary, because you have to go to the state, you have to register it, you have to get an EIN number from the IRS. But once you have an LLC and people are contracting with your LLC, your personal self, is shielded from liability. They can only go after the liabilities of the LLC. And then, for tax purposes, it all just flows through to you. Like, you don't have to do any special paperwork, you just need to do a little bit of extra taxes, but ultimately, all of that flows through to you. So it's one of the simplest ways for a single person to shield their assets, yet still not have to, still have something that comes through on a fairly easy basis. Now, Vito and I have had an LLC partnership together, and it was pretty easy. We were both managing members, so once again, all of the income losses split down the middle. We didn't have to do any special taxes, any paperwork, because we weren't contracting out with anyone else. It does get a little bit more complicated. If you start hiring people, please talk to an attorney or a tax consultant at that point, because you're going to need to start doing K-1s and all this other kind of, it becomes a lot more complicated. And then there are full corporate partnerships. Don't do that if you don't have to. That is a very big, complicated thing. You are a corporation at that point. You're going to need to start hiring people. But for a small streamer or small creator who's looking to, like I said, shield yourself from some liability, but wants to have a more simple tax structure, go for your LLC. Once again, not a lawyer. Please contact a lawyer or a CPA in your appropriate jurisdiction.
And every state's formation is a little different.
Exactly.
There is a small fee to pay
Yes,
for
yes.
LLCs,
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
just
that's
to note
something-
that.
yes.
But every state is different, and you can find that information out on all. Just type in your state LLC, and they'll put it in there. It differentiates. I think here in Georgia, was $100 a while ago, I think, but it's 50. But you can check, and that's about as most that you might have to put in, and then you also have to get a bank account for. I suggest a bank account. For your
Yes,
business bank
that's also
account,
a very good
all
idea.
those
Do
different
not
things.
do not commingle
Do
your
not commingle
assets.
bank accounts.
Don't do it.
Don't cross the stream.
Yeah, don't cross the stream.
In Georgia, it's 100 first year, 50 years renewal, $50 renewal.
Yeah,
That sounds about right
Yeah.
for
that's not a
Florida
bad
as
deal.
well.
Florida's
That's not a bad
similar.
deal.
Yeah, similar.
So down the line, Kong, you said you had an LLC as well. You just formed one, right?
Yes, correct. So obviously, as everyone said, it can be a very intimidating process. Just so you know, there are companies that will kind of hold your hand or really do it for you. That is the route that I want, and I wrote down, it cost me $280. They filed the LLC for me. They got me an EIN, and they acted as my registered agent with their address. I did
Yes.
not
Yes,
want
if
my
you-
address out there in the public domain when the LLC was formed.
And that
about
is
to say
also
that,
a very, very fair point.
Yes.
When we did our LLC, I was the registered agent because I felt comfortable doing that due to the nature of our LLC. But as you said, if you don't want that to be publicly discoverable for whatever reason, get yourself a registered agent. There must be somewhere where you can have legal paperwork.
Yes.
sent
They
to
have
you.
to be able to send it
Yes.
between I would say some influencers online, some good actors, some not, will recommend if you don't want to put your home address or use a PO box, you can use a virtual address. I recommend watching those out because you're technically renting a space that already physically exists, but you don't have control of that mail. So if you can go pick up that mail, that's dicey. So just watch out for that news if you get that online.
I work with an organization that does use a virtual address, and they nearly sent back several things that were very
That's the
legally
problem.
important for us to get, because they said, well, the name wasn't exactly correct on it.
I just
Yeah. So yeah, don't use virtual, like you said, use a registered agent or use a PO box, because you don't want to miss something like that.
No free ads, but I got a recommendation. I also did the same thing using a registered agent, just in the media world. Having your home, especially if you have a family, can be a little dicey. So Northwest registered agent, they have them all over the country, and that they walk you through the whole process. And anything that, if you had any sort of paperwork that went to you that needs to be put to you, they have your address, so they can send it to you, or they will contact you as well. There's a lot of them out there.
Do they help you with tax season as well?
you can essentially like they have a list of resources. Well, they'll put you in it's separate, but they have like, here's some subcontractors you can work to help with that as well. Because I know tax season gets a little scary, especially when you do it yourself. Enigma, you said you had one as well.
So I was a I was a sole proprietor for about, gosh, I want to say about 2.5 years. And right before COVID, I went to my accountant's office. I'm very lucky. My accountant used to live next door to me and Mom, so he's cool. So he just invites me down to his office. And it was in December 2019, and he said, you know, you're paying a lot of I think he said self-employment tax. And that's also a thing. And he said, you know, you can do this LLC, but he set me and my mom up on something called an S corp, where he just said this would be good for you since it's just you're the one, you basically are just paying yourself. And both of you brought up an excellent point, especially in the content creator world. If you can, don't put like a home address on any of your stuff. In the streamer world, sometimes you can run afoul of somebody who you don't even understand is upset with you, and they like to send the SWAT team to your house. So, and I've heard a lot of streamers, including very, very big ones, had their address exposed through LLCs. So if you can, try to, and that's how one of them got swatted. And just, you know, not to fearmonger, it's just kind of giving you the resources. Just make sure you have unless you just feel totally comfortable, just, if you can, try to get another address put on there. But I've been on an S corp, and they pretty much hit all the points that I could hit anyway. But I've been on that one since 2019, and it did give me a bit of relief from the self-employment taxes. But I agree with everything that's said. If you can get a professional to go over everything with you around January, I just shoot everything to him, and he gets it all set up for me, and we just go with whatever we need. But pretty much everybody's kind of said the big stuff.
And to say this again, while I mentioned that when we had our LLC, I did not have a registered agent, I just put myself. That was 15 years ago, Panda, and this version of Panda has learned some things since then. So I would not do that now.
What's the difference between the S Corp and the LLC?
I'm going to be straight up with you.
It's very much
It's been so long, I let my accountant hold that, but he had this whole thing.
Okay, but please, if we have someone who's a little bit more on the tax
Yes,
side.
that's not my expertise.
As S Corp, you'd have to issue yourself a K1. So that's like
That's what it, when you pay yourself,
So you're paying yourself.
Yep.
So basically,
LLC for federal is still considered as like a sole proprietor. It's still going down to you.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's the level of how the income flows down to you. I mentioned a K1 for the LLC. So like if I was paying Vito, I would have to issue a K1 to him as the owner of the LLC if he was not a managing member. Whereas the S corp, as we said, you're paying yourself. You're basically giving yourself a W-9.
You're writing a check to yourself.
Exactly.
It's weird. It's really weird,
Yeah.
but it took me a while to get used to that. But
Please talk to your
it's what it is.
CPA.
Yeah.
I'm handing myself a check.
Yeah.
Spend it all in one.
I just tell my guy, I'm like, here you go, take everything, you do it. And it's like, when he sold it to me in his office right before COVID, he just said, you're paying yourself. And I'm like, that's weird. That's really weird. He said, that's what it is. You know, that's what we got it set up for. And it was a really good route. It was really good. Worked out.
Do any of you know any recommendations if you can change that? Because I used mine, so now I'm wondering, like, can I?
For your address?
Yeah, if I got a PO box, could I go there?
I think, you just have to file paperwork with the state.
Yeah.
Places change addresses all the time.
Yeah, you can change the.
Yeah, you can check. I've actually moved since I started. So yeah, and I've had to move like PO boxes and business addresses too. So yeah, you can totally do that.
My address to your address to
You for at least with SumBiz, which is Florida, because again every state's different, so it's slightly different. It shows up. You have a primary address, and where like you would do your actual business, and then the registered agent, which could be the same or also something different. I have it that's the same, so you are able to change that with some paperwork. That doesn't have to necessarily need to be annually. It can be at any point when you change. So that is the good thing with having that business is you're able to go ahead and change anything that you need to that is front facing like that. But yeah, when you have to pay yourself with that direct deposit, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's weird. I didn't get used to that initially. It was so strange, but
And sometimes you forget to pay yourself.
I know,
Oh,
right?
shit.
Yeah.
I need to do it on the 1st every month. Now it's the 6th. This is weird.
Who's
And
the
I came
manager
into-
I can talk to? Oh,
And I came into that at such a weird time because it was right before COVID started in December 2019. We got it done, I think, in January 2020, and then COVID started, and Boy, that was a time to jump into all that. I tell you.
So we pretty much talked about separating business or personal and then having a different business account, because you think about the money that you're bringing in if you're selling or services or whatever, you want to have that flow separately, and then you can kind of determine what goes to you personally or what stays on your business account for business expenses. So we talk about from the business part of it, do we want to go ahead and see like common pitfalls for first-time small business owners? Like you started this LLC, and then like what's that next roadblock that happens? Elaine, I know you have a
still
lot of
paint out
clients.
real quick. I think this is gonna work
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
It's actually the one thing that I do see. Sometimes I'll have people will already have a small business and they'll have the LLC and everything. And they say, okay, your logos and your social media names, trademark, copyright? No. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
let's get on that. So you have to make sure that, and this is a thing you can do now, you can trademark your social media account names, which you should. That is now a new legal safety. It's a bit of an extra loophole. When you go through full trademark office, there are about 40, 45, I think, classifications. You
It can
select
be a little
one-
confusing.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Yes. Well, it's 45 classifications, and then you have to like sub-identify what you are in, get to the closest to what you do. And there are sub-classifications that work for services versus content creators for entertainment purposes, for something like the credit card travel and all of that. But you have to go in and kind of best decide that, and then get that going. First, you have to check all of the names are selected or not. And by the way, do not Google the social media names, because when you Google the social media names, bots are looking at what you're doing and may scrape for the names and go take them. So the best is to actually go into the social media platforms or all platforms that you're interested that require usernames and go check there. Or they're also their actual business registration names. Because if they're actual businesses, they would have registered the name, so you can check in the business registries. Because if they're not in the business registry, it's free to take, right? And then once you have that, no one else can take that name, ever. So even if they try, Instagram will actually do something about that, because now you're trademarked on copyright. Copyright also a bit of a different slew. It's a bit of a thing to go through, but for your logos, anything visual, font, if you have a specific custom color, hex codes that you've developed for your own things, all of it needs to be copyright and trademark for protection.
Yes, I mean, and you will hear people say, oh, it is under common law, it's first to use,
No.
all this other kind of
No.
stuff. Who, do you want to get into a legal battle with someone about this? Do you have the money to go to court about this with someone? And that is the thing. Yes, the law is technically on your side, but you have to fight someone at that point. And that is not something that you need to do. That is not some money that you need to spend. It is much, much cheaper to spend the money to copyright and trademark than to fight a legal battle with someone else. It's going to take much more for you to win when it's someone who's being like, haha, I own this, and I'll just sell it to you now for $5,000 so you don't have to fight me for it anymore. So.
Yeah, one pitfall I would recommend is once you start making money, start setting that aside, because even if you quite haven't filed for LLC and all that other stuff, know that that will be taxable money. So you have to start setting aside anywhere between 25-30%,
Yes.
something just
Yeah.
30%
aside.
is a good baseline.
Okay, don't
Very
spend all of
safe.
it. Like in your first month making money from social media, do not spend all of it. Start setting it aside. Know that that's going to happen. And at least for me, know that even when I was incredibly small, like maybe 5,000 followers, there will start to be fake accounts of you. Like it's just like a rite of passage for some reason.
Yep.
That you see so many fake accounts. I think some platforms are easier for you to fight that and get that removed. TikTok is not, and
Good.
unfortunately, that's
Instagram
where.
sucks.
Gonna say,
That's-
good luck with TikTok.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. You have to go through a whole separate form. They're very clever. They automatically block you, so you can't see them and report them, and other people can't do it for you. Otherwise, you need to be like a verified entity to actually like get them taken off. So yeah, it's a process. Just know that people will start using your success for their own benefit, and they don't care, right? They don't. Like for me, like when I joined the affiliate network, I had to take down some of my old videos because of the wording that I had in them. So there was like sponsors from different banks, and I was no longer able to say that stuff. So for my account, I took all that down. That doesn't mean all the fake me's did the same thing. So it's just pitfalls to kind of be worried about, A, save your money, but B, like people start trying to ride on your coattails the minute you have any type of success.
Do you mind?
Oh,
I
good.
have a
Please.
fantastic example.
Yeah, go for it. Microphone right here.
Yeah,
for
sure.
questions.
So, my name's Rob. I cannot tell you what project I was kicked out of, but I can tell you that the story started 7 days at the end of DragonCon 2018. The individual would die, be unidentified for 15 years until facial recognition found me in DragonCon pictures, backtracked, and I gave a name to the individual. I filled in the rest of the human story. Me and the original investigator sold all of this to HBO, who then wrote us out, paid us off for $500 apiece, and released it at HBO Max to be the largest grossing documentary on their platform in 2014. I made $250. I can no longer talk about the program. I can no longer talk about any of the project that I did, my part in it, all of the original materials, including all newspaper, magazine, and online functionality prior to the documentary have all been removed as if it was never in existence. And I have a little blurb of a thank you right before the scrolling credits at the end of that doc.
Oh my.
The entire job was done by two people who got a little bitty nod at the very end and $250 for what was originally, for the first guy, 15 years of work, and for me, 4.5 years of work. $250. So if you have a solid project, protect yourself before anybody else even touches it. I am still in the true crime missing persons genre. Why I'm here is that I want to get above where I'm at, and I desperately want to get paid for it this time. So I just want to let you know, even the entities that come out that are going, we want you, are very interested in only wanting your content.
Right. And
They
I-
will leave you behind.
I don't know if we had a point to touch on that, but that was something I was going to touch on from a legal perspective. Don't give away your work for free, ever. Have a solid contract in place. Do not give ideas to anyone, because they will change it just enough so that you can't come back and say, well, they stole my idea. No, you said it was going to be red, and we used blue. And don't think HBO. You would think that they're a reputable company. Nope. I don't care if it's Disney. I don't care if it's HBO. I don't care who it is. Give them not a single idea until a contract is signed and you have gone over it and you know exactly what you are owed if they use it. Okay?
The big brands can be scarier just because they feel like you feel like they have the big lawyers, and it's like in that situation it's like, oh, this is going to be great and they're going to bring me along, and then all of a sudden it's one piece of paper that changes everything.
I mean, that was a particularly egregious one, but there's a lot of small creators out there who find that, oh, I'm going to collab, I'm just going to throw out an idea to see if they like it, and then they, no, and then 6 months down the line, hey, that looks familiar, and there's nothing you can do because you don't have the lawyers that they have.
So I know some of you said Twitch streamers, and I know Twitch, because it is an Amazon company, does have a whole set of like tax if you're affiliate or partner.
Yes.
How does that work out? And I know some of us are affiliate, and you're a partner, correct? Mm-hmm. So how does that work out on your end? And is it easier just having to go through that tax paperwork, easier to have that business associated to it versus doing it?
It makes it way easier, and they're really nice. Like it's Twitch is a subsidiary of Amazon, so every time we get our tax forms in January, it comes from Amazon instead of Twitch, and you just go on there and you click the appropriate things. They make it really stupid easy. Like all I have to do is print these things out and send them to my CPA. And a good thing about, he explained this to me recently. I don't know if this is a recent change. Me and him really. He's known me since I was a kid, so we don't really talk a whole lot. I just shoot him the stuff and I trust him. But about a year or two ago, we were talking on the phone about, I think it was my 2023 returns. And he said, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but Twitch kind of, because he remembered the conversation we had in 2019 with the S Corp. Like, you're paying a lot of self-employment tax. America doesn't like it when you don't work for a corporation. So they tax you on that. He said that Twitch, the way he looks at it now, I don't know if this changed or if it was just something that he just never mentioned. Twitch will give you most of your payments in what they call royalties. And those will sort of help you evade some of those self-employment taxes. But I am very, very fortunate that being a subsidiary of Amazon, they make it very easy. You just go to your tax interview, you get like 2 or 3 forms. I email them to my CPA, and he takes it from there, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple.
Do you recommend having a CPA or accountant?
I'm a little biased. I've had a CPA. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't really know. I've only worked with a CPA. If anybody else wants to jump in on that, they can.
So, as a pretty okay personal finance guy, I know the basics of my own tax stuff. I can file my own. I know investing. I know saving, retirement, all that stuff. I'm going to get a CPA when I file my business stuff. I just do not trust myself enough with it at this point. Now, after I've worked with someone for 5 years and I've talked to them and I've kind of gained an understanding, that's a different story. But I think you would rather err on the side of caution if it's your first year and just get that professional help.
Yeah, getting the professional help will cost you less in the long term. Than
Yes,
screwing
exactly.
Yes.
Yep.
And it might not even be like, I can fill out the forms on, H&R Block, TurboTax, but it's possible that they're able to help you more get some of your money back.
Yes.
Because they know what the tax implications are.
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't
know.
You can't unless you
Yeah.
went to school for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I would also recommend making sure, because there are people that you can now get online, I would recommend getting someone who your business is registered in the same state. It's not that someone else cannot do it in another state, it's just those folks in your state, the laws are funky, and every state has slightly different things that we can get deals for, that we can get whatnot. So that CPA will know specifically better for your state.
All right, we got a question.
Hey everybody, I'm AJ. Hey Kong.
Hi.
I actually am a new subscriber for you, and this is my first con in Atlanta, and it was your page that I was looking at, and I was going through the entire thing. I listened to your video 10 times to make sure I can go through the app on Dragon Con and all those things, so thank you.
No, thank you so much. That means a lot.
I just wanted to backtrack a little bit. So if someone is interested, how do you protect yourself but yet still market your ideas? Because I feel like it's a little bit of a gray area kind of thing. How do you get someone interested if you can't really talk to them about your ideas? How does that work?
Okay, so what's going to happen in this kind of scenario is that the organization is going to reach out to you. They are looking for, and they'll look for very even small nano streamers, whatnot. But you need to be very circumspect. Don't go with anyone who asks you to pay money first. They should be paying you. But that's just it. When it comes to sponsorships and whatnot, yes, there are ways to search for it. But ideally, they're coming to you, and if they ask you for an idea, they should be prepared with a contract up front to give to you, because they are saying that you are valuable. They are asking for your ideas, your content. Don't give it to them for free.
So the contract comes first?
Yes, insist on the contract, no matter what they say. Say, that's wonderful, we can get started, we can talk, let's talk actual contract and legalities first. And they back away from it, that's not someone you want to work with.
Yeah, the only kind of thing that I can speak to that is I've had certain brands or programs reach out asking for work on TikTok. And thankfully, I know someone else who's very competent in that area. So I like to run it by them each time. And it's the same thing. It's be very upfront about what they want to do. So they'll send you an email and say, hey, do you want to collab? And you say, that's great. But at that point, don't give them any ideas, of course, right? And you would say, yes, I would love to, but what are your asks? I forget the term.
That's it.
The deliverables.
What's
I'm sorry,
the
the
deliverables?
deliverables.
Yes, what's the deliverables?
And it becomes very specific, as in you are like, I release you my footage to use for this much, for this duration, and if you want to use it, this is what it costs extra. So those are the things that I'm still kind of learning myself, and you can certainly, check with more seasoned people, but set that contract, set everything up in advance before you even start working.
Yeah,
Because-
know your worth.
Yes, that's what it is.
Absolutely.
Because
No.
I had one that I recently turned down where they were like, "Yeah, do you want $250 for a video?" I was like, "I could do a video for that." But then they're like, "Oh, by the way, but we want to use it for the next 3 months, and we want the raw footage." I was like, "No, I'm not. That's going to be a $1,000 deal, not a $250 deal." So, and they immediately got quiet after I asked for more. So.
Yeah, they'll lowball you every
Yeah,
single
yep.
time, and they'll try to sneak in things like, yeah, it's like the travel Instagrammers in particular will get things like, I've got back when I was doing a little bit more travel stuff was okay, well, we'll give you a free meal if you do X, Y, and Z for us. And I'm like, that's actual work. I'm not doing it for a free meal.
Yeah.
I need to be paid for that. And like I said, they go real quiet because they assume that if you have a very small following, that you're basically going to pay them for the exposure.
They assume that you're desperate.
Yeah, they assume you're
Especially
desperate.
for the
For the
smaller content creators, like,
exposure.
oh yeah, for the exposure. We've had this for a long time. For artists, illustrators, right? Don't let them take that assumption, because they are, and I know it comes from a place of privilege almost to say, just say no. There's going to be someone else. It is scary to say no to an opportunity that feels like, oh man, this could be really something. But you just really have to sometimes trust and realize that there is, if you miss one, there really is enough to go around. And sometimes you can even go look for people that really fit more your vibe, your values, and whatever it is too. And that can eventually work out.
You can't pay with anything with exposure bucks.
Yes. And this is why we say keep 4 to 6 months worth of savings on the side, especially if you're doing this while you have now quit your full-time job. If you haven't quit your full-time job, then this becomes tougher, because I have seen people you are so tired from the full-time job, making that, and then having to literally work a second job. So sometimes the decision making can be careful. So what I say is, if you do get this, make sure that you are sitting on it, get enough time to consider it, especially if you are too exhausted from the full-time job.
Thanks.
We have about 15 minutes. Does anyone else have any questions? Feel free to come up to the mic. If you have anything about even content creation or anything of the sort, feel free to come on up. Travis, I did want to kick to you. You're on the other side of the table, so sometimes I forget. No, I'm
That's
kidding.
all right.
You mentioned Patreon. You have a lot of different shows and a lot of different podcasts and whatnot. How did you determine when you started your first one when to scale, and when doing more helped you, and when did you decide, hey, I want to go Patreon, fourth wall, etc.?
I'm still trying to figure that out. Basically, I did my first show for probably 2 to 2.5 years before I even considered doing anything. And then it was, Fourth Wall was just, I had a different print-on-demand service prior to that. I don't even remember which one it was now, and it shut down. And I just heard about Fourth Wall and thought, I'll throw, some merch out there. If 3 people buy it, that's fine. It's an avenue. It's something that might happen later. But it was really just, it was the same thing with Patreon. It was, let's do that, and I can figure out scaling it as I go, if as I start to get more listeners and more viewers. So it was just kind of go for it and hope for the best, because I really don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, and the good thing with those is you're not paying like a monthly fee. You just get a percentage off of what you bring in.
Yes,
So it
and
does
that
help
was
to just kind of, hey, let me throw these shirts at the wall, and if nobody buys them and you don't get hurt from it.
Yeah, you didn't lose anything.
Yeah, that was the big part of it. It was so low friction to get into it that it was worth it.
Patreon takes 8%, but hey, it's still something.
Yeah.
Question.
I have a YouTube channel. As of this morning, I just broke 125,000 subscribers.
Oh, nice.
Congratulations.
Very nice.
When I broke about 25,000, I started getting offers for sponsorships, and I declined those. I wanted to get over 100,000 before I accepted sponsors. I'm to that point that I'm considering it now, but all of the sponsors are saying, let us know your rate. Do you have any advice on how to set a rate?
That's a good question.
And there's only a handful of
That's always my
sponsors I'm
favorite.
interested in, but I'd really love to hear your thoughts.
I know
on how to do it.
YouTube is a different animal from Twitch. Like I'll be straight up with you. Like if somebody wants to, it's different with recorded content. If somebody, this is kind of goes into the whole aspect of do not be afraid to say no or and know your worth, and don't let anybody take advantage of you. because I was in that boat with Twitch about 5 years ago, and I said, what on earth? People are asking me for my rate. What do I do? I don't know for YouTube, but I know for me, it's like if I do a 2-hour stream, they're paying me a K an hour. And that sounds preposterous to me when I first started saying that. I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? But they do it. And the ones that really value what you do, I wish I knew for YouTube. I wish I knew the scalability, but I don't. But what I can say is if you can find like somebody who might have some knowledge, like a professional, if you get a number or a suggestion that sounds ludicrous, like this one for Twitch sounded for me, it's probably not ludicrous. It's probably really good. Gosh, I wish I had more info for YouTube. I'm more of the live Twitch. Yeah. Does anybody else have any kind of
somewhat
YouTube?
of an idea? So it also
Okay.
depends on what kind of collab they're doing. That's the other thing too. Are they only asking for a quick shout out? So most YouTube videos will have a sponsor or a sponsor bio once you get certain collabs, and it depends. Some sponsors, they'll only last, hey, here's a 10-second blurb about thank you for whoever is sponsoring us. Others, they'll go much longer, and it's like you're watching a full-on 3-minute ad. And other videos, other kinds of collab content is actually where you're working in the content into the actual collaboration. So for example, a product or a service, oftentimes you see this, for example, with doing research for folks who do business on social media, there are a lot of like fourth wall and a lot of other services where suddenly you're halfway through the video and you realize, oh, I'm actually watching an ad for this business. That's a different monster because that falls more under the, well, if this is an hour-long video, it's an hour-long advertisement. I'm mentioning you essentially several times throughout. You have to ask what the deliverables are for that. And it can be anywhere between 500 to almost 5,000. So to put it into perspective, on social media, typically when it comes to social media video packages, people will always lowball. They'll do a set of 5 TikTok videos anywhere up to 30 seconds to a minute, and they'll say, oh, it's $250. That's low. That's super low. That's super low for the amount of time that it actually takes you to create the content and whatnot. Anywhere between 5,000 to 1,000 is what, this is why people don't really register how much it costs to get people to do video when they want to do video content. So you can definitely use that because if each video is about 1 minute, right, and you get 5, that's about 5 minutes already, 500 or 1,000. And ask them, how long do you want it? What exactly do you want me to do? And then see how long is your videos? And then you can determine. But I would say start high.
Yes,
because if they
I
really
agree.
want to
Yeah.
work with you, they're like, hey, this is really high. We're really interested in working with you. Can we maybe negotiate? Then go from there. And if it's someone you really want to work with, you like them, what? Maybe you can cut them some break and get some. But if not, say, hey, I'll wait until the next person comes along.
Maybe as well, I'm assuming, with, what'd you think, 125K subscribers
Yes.
now? So like with your ad revenue, I don't know how often or how long your videos are.
Typically, they're in the 8 to 15 minute range.
8 to 15 minutes. So maybe if there's a metric in Google AdSense that kind of tells you, how much you make per video. Like, let's say you do a 15-minute video and you get a sponsor and they want you to devote like 1 minute to it. Maybe you can sort of devise a formula. It's going to be different for everybody, obviously, but you can kind of play around with the numbers. But like you said, always shoot high because they're going to shoot low with you initially. And if you just say like, hey, okay, this is what I want, and just leave nothing else behind it, like for me, I was kind of unsure when I started doing it, and that's not, they detect that stuff. So you want to just kind of be like, okay, this is what it is. Okay. And then just leave it at that. But maybe kind of go through like a little formula of what you make per video and maybe increase it by a multiple of whatever number you feel
And
good
then just
with.
double check the YouTube rules. YouTube has very specific rules about certain kinds of sponsorships. If they send you a product for review, then you have to be careful about payment, because if you do take payment, you have to be upfront. It's a requirement for YouTube to be upfront. You don't have to say how much you got paid. You just have to be transparent about, hey, y'all, I'm getting paid for this.
Okay.
And if you don't do that, you can get into a lot of trouble with YouTube. They do not like this anymore.
Yeah, and it's not just YouTube, it's also an FTC
Yep,
rule.
yes.
At least at the moment.
Instagram
We don't know
has
how the
become big about
government's going to
this.
change, but at least at the moment, you must disclose it under
Yeah.
the FTC rules, or otherwise you get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And YouTube is they're very serious about about it, but they're a lot better. If you upload a video and you go into the details, there should be like a little tick box says, is there a promotional thing? As long as you tick that, you're good.
Okay,
Because
great.
before we had to put like hashtag ad, hashtag
Yeah,
spot,
yep.
all this really like guerrilla stuff almost. But now YouTube makes it easy. You just
Yeah.
hit the check mark and
And
they
Twitch
see
is-
it on the video.
Twitch is the same way. You,
Yep.
like, you can check mark
Yeah.
that there's a
Yeah,
paid
they
sponsor.
added, Twitch added
It's
that
not
one.
a bad
Yeah.
thing. It is to protect your consumer.
It is very good, yeah. I like
But
it. I'm
there's
glad
a-
they do
yeah,
that.
and there's an authentic way that you can go around sponsored and paid
Mm-hmm.
for material. There really is. It's just finding that balance for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, congrats on one.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's awesome.
Congrats, man.
There's a lot of formulas
I know, right?
on how to figure out
Your engagement rate, how to.
both YouTube, Twitch, all of those.
So part of my curriculum at KSU was contract law, and one of my professors was talking about how now in contracts, especially for media, one of the things they put in there is a right to use your likeness
Yes.
via AI. How do we avoid that? How do we minimize that? How do we
Refuse.
You know about
That's a
this
whole
from
different
you
panel.
know about this from the nil. Yeah, that's a nil panel. So that actually comes from the sports world, especially right now. We have sports content creators, especially university content creators, where NCAA had certain requirements about name, image, likeness. This is why esports was not permitted. One of the reasons why it wasn't permitted to be NCAA, because esports kids have been using sponsorships and whatnot since they were 12, right? We've known about that stuff. But copyright, trademark, things like that. The only way that you really can protect that, contract.
Yeah.
Everything must be legally in contract. And if you are worried, first of all, there are now a lot of templates online to deal with that and show you what kind of verbiage you need to actually put in. I'm gonna mention a source because I'm not sponsored, but I love the work that they do. The Boutique Lawyer is a social media specialist who she actually provides a lot of free resources and all paid if you want to. But she has now been really pushing the area of this in terms of nil and other things you need to. If you have a website too, that needs to be protected as well. But everything just needs a contract. Get a lawyer to go through and check all of that for you, because nil stuff is very tricky, because not every country has the same laws too. So whatever protects your content here will not protect your content in another country. Especially if you're making content in another country, even for visiting. That's something that you need to be aware of and watch out for. But my God, that's next year's panel.
Streaming in London.
Yeah,
How
no,
to do it.
that's why I
No.
said, like,
Put it out of my head, actually.
please talk, like, for things like this, have a legal contact that knows the law. Please have them read your contracts, because once it is in a contract, it's binding.
Yeah.
It's really hard to prove unconscionability and have a contract broken. If you sign away your likeness in AI forever, you've signed away your likeness in AI forever, and you just have to live with that now.
And also as well, if you happen to read over an agreement yourself, like I do, I read everything before I sign it. I've had contracts altered based on things, and I will not sign it unless I'm fully comfortable with everything. The good companies, they'll work with you. I recently started doing work with Gaggle, the company that does the game show streaming. I was one of their original people. And when we were going over agreements, I said, I have concerns about this. They were like, okay, yeah, we'll change it real quick. Like, that's a great company. You're going to get some skeevy ones out there. And if anybody kind of, I protests any kind of change or concern, red flag. But always advocate, and don't feel like you're being too much of a bother if you need to change stuff. I have had up to 5 things sometimes changed in one agreement. But it's also a good way. You got to develop an instinct for companies and people as well. You'll find the more you advocate for yourself, the people that are with you on that same level are the good ones, and the people that are going to like, well, then you'll kind of be able to differentiate the good ones and the not so good ones.
Yeah, because if you're not going to advocate for yourself, then who is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing that I learned from all this is do not hesitate to do things your way, because they're coming after you. You're not going after them. Just don't hesitate to do it your way.
Anyway, I got
Brilliant.
one more thing to just. I got one more thing. I know this is me. Imagine my students get this for up to an hour and a half. Just one more thing. Just one more
We wanna go, it's
thing.
not-
Yeah, this means also checking the copyright of the social media apps that you use.
Yes.
Just recently, CapCut changed some rules that actually affected some things, essentially saying that they owned copyright to your material, which is very unusual. Usually Instagram would say no. So from now on, it kind of woke people up to, okay, wait, that means if I'm essentially creating content for myself or my clients especially, that means that they could use this? Yes. So some people actually had to stop using CapCut because of the clients that they work with. You need to read through the terms of service of every app. You don't own them. You're only using the platforms to create your content. The only thing you would ever own is your own website. That's it. And even then, I'm kind of renting. So just check that too, because that falls under nil too.
Yep, and that gets to, there was a whole section, we're running out of time, so we won't be able to get too much into it, but
Yeah.
choosing brand or platform loyalty versus diversity, because you never know. If your platform goes away tomorrow,
Have an email newsletter.
yes.
That can never go away. Gmail almost never goes down. Almost. Predominantly.
Any last questions? So while we have 2 more minutes, everyone go down the line and tell them where to find you and what about you and everything DragonCon related too.
Oh, am I starting again?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. As I mentioned, I am Panda Opinions. Panda, but it's Panda and Opinion. It's a whole thing. There are ribbons on the table over there. And you can find me on Twitch, where I do some kind of I do diversity streaming. Basically, I just do whatever floats my boat at that moment in time. I am also branching out a little bit into YouTube live streaming as well. We'll see how that goes. But find me and my one Canadian lady, and we can hang out. All right.
You can find me easily searched Elaine Venter, ELAINEVENTER, enter with it, not Ventor. I'm looking at all my students who are on there. You can find me at EL_Venter on Instagram, and then Elaine Venter at LinkedIn.
All right. The easiest one probably is just if you go to YouTube, How to DragonCon, even though that's not my money-making one, that's the easiest way to find me. Thank you for that. But on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, for the finance and travel stuff, it's Kongfi, KAUNGFI. And if anyone actually wants to get into that world and not pay for travel essentially ever again in your life, I will stick around. I love to yap to anyone who will listen. I see a friend back there that listened to me, and she's going somewhere for free. So if you want that, just come find me outside, but Kongfi.
I am an eternal enigma. I do most of or pretty much all of it on Twitch. I don't do multi-streaming yet, but I do upload stuff to all the video stuff, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's not my main thing. I just do some stuff here and there. I'm kind of in that fortunate group of people that got in early, so I don't really have to worry or think about a lot about multi-streaming. I have a pretty solid base of people on Twitch, and that's where you can find me the most. And I'm on practically every social media there is, and I started out as a horror game streamer, but now I'm just kind of just whatever. We just sit and talk for about an hour or two before, and then we just see where the night takes us. And I got a lot of stuff coming up in the month of September. And if you want to follow me on Twitch, we'd love to have you. Thank you.
It's September.
That's right.
I'm TV's Travis. You can find me on any social media platform, TVS Travis, or another easy place is just my website, tvstravis.com.
Websites are great. Thanks for everybody. Have a great DragonCon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice job, Vito. That was very formal. I'll take it.
Last year was Alan Wake, too.
Oh, you did a phenomenal job moderating.
So like
You were so organized.
did a
I
playthrough of Death
I
Stranding
need to
2,
have you as a
and
guest.
my
I need to have
internet
all of you as
collapsed
guest speakers
in the
for my
middle of
class.
it. So I had
Because I'm
ISP
teaching the
people
social
at
media
my house
entrepreneurship next
literally
semester.
every day for 3
So we
weeks.
can yap a little
And I
longer about
have
that
2
LLC
internet
stuff
connections
that
now,
was started.
but with everything that just got fixed
I
up,
already guessed in Tyra's class once.
Yeah.
My sister lives in Kennesaw, so it's close to my home. We're getting big fans of it.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
We got to get
Yeah, I'm supposed to head out to my next one.
It's good to see you as well. I'm sorry about all your coughs in there.
oh, it's all right. I'm used to it.
All
It
of it was
happens.
done with body